Well, this time last year, a lot of Democrats were running away from Obamacare as the disastrous rollout dominated the news. But headlines fade, and Obamacare is suddenly quite popular with groups that lean Democratic, like unmarried women and minorities. And Time magazine says Obamacare could be the Democrats' quote, silver lining. We are joined by Tammy Bruce and Leslie Marshall, both radio talk show hosts and Fox News contributors. Good to see both of you.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, Arthur.
Hey, Tammy. So, Tammy, you're going to be up on this one first. Silver lining or pie in the sky?
Well, look, I would encourage all Democrats to talk about Obamacare up until election night. That would be great. The fact is, actually, it's not in the news because it's not good news. You have to admit that if this was good news for the president or for the Democrats, it would be all over the place as it used to be. There is news to report, though. You've got Walmart canceling 33,000 of its employees because of Obamacare. The state of Virginia says it's canceling 250,000 people because of Obamacare. So you've got a dynamic where, especially with women, as you mentioned, Arthel, we're the ones who lost, as everybody did, but our doctors and our hospitals, we haven't forgotten that, and the media is not covering it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't matter anymore, that we love it. It means that it's bad news. And you know, if it wasn't, Obama and Josh Earnest, everyone would be touting it, and they're not, because it's still a disaster.
Leslie, do you agree with Tammy?
Absolutely not. You have almost 10 million people that have insurance that are very happy with the insurance. Walmart posted just this past quarter higher earnings than they had in the two previous quarters, so they don't have to cut these, and they don't have to blame it on Obamacare. In addition to that, we have two huge issues. You guys may have heard of Ebola and ISIS. They're pretty much taking up all of the headlines on radio, television, print, online. And at the end of the day, Americans always have and always will care about the economy, the jobs numbers, and historically there's been a correlation between the approval ratings and popularity of the president, which haven't been as good. They've come up about 2 to 7% since the beginning of September, but that's still not over 50% for the midterm. So it's going to be very close for the Senate.
Okay, but you mentioned midterms, Leslie, and we talk about Obamacare, which is the single most or second to single most important issue to single women, to minorities, to the young folks, or definitely to the first two groups. But the combined is the tripod, the base of the Democratic voter base, which typically they don't turn out for the midterms. So will this play out in terms of voter turnout for midterms or no?
Quite frankly, this is, as a Democrat, I feel that the Democrats have, not just in the midterm election, but quite frankly, in all elections. I feel that Republicans are better at reaching out to those who they're not sure will vote for them. Those people, for example, for Democrats to reach out to those in the GOP who are unhappy with or disillusioned with their party, to the centrists, the independents, people that don't want to be aligned with a political party, especially in the hotly contested districts in the red states. We're looking at 9 races, really, that are going to determine who controls the Senate. I think it'll come down to 2 independents. So I don't think it's just about them distancing themselves from Obamacare, talking about it or not talking about it. I think they just didn't have the outreach effort that Republicans had. And at the end of the day, I think what will get more people to the polls, especially Latinos, will be immigration reform. And I think Democrats should be talking more about it, as the president did this week.
All right, Leslie, I give you a chance to stretch out. Take it away, Tammy.
Well, you know, look, I mean, to say that the Obama team and the Democrats aren't good at outreach to their core is a little, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They are really the experts at this. The fact of the matter is they're not doing outreach. It's not working. Their base is not going because their base is disappointed. Insurance premiums are also going to rise. They've already started to rise before the election. We're going to remember what the problem with Obamacare was. Even though, you know, you got the enrollment period is reopened, we also have 310,000 people the HHS says is likely going to be canceled because of citizenship or immigration issues. So you're looking at still a website that is not fixed on the payment end. You're looking at problems with hacking and identity theft. And I think that women, especially in the Democratic base, is disappointed. And if you've got ISIS and Ebola, the fact is, if Obamacare was good news, they would be moving it. It would be at the top of the news, and it's not for a reason.
Leslie, you say what?
Well, I say that the women that do come out, and ladies, please come out, regardless of who you're voting for. And of course, I like you better if you're voting on my side. But if the ladies come out as they should, the women, the bottom line is historically the women vote overwhelming for Democrats in these races. They will. So will the Hispanics and the youth and the African Americans if they get out. And I didn't say the Democrats aren't good at reaching out to their base. They are. I said they're not be doing a good job in this midterm election reaching out to those outside their base. If you're preaching, to the choir and trying to get the votes of your party, that you already have. You already have that.
We already have with the polls when it comes to the Senate races. Women, in fact, are not breaking heavily for Democrats. They are maybe single point ahead for the breaking to Democrats. Or even, and that indicates that women, if they are going to go out and vote, Democratic women will be voting perhaps as they did in 2010 for the Republican or for an alternative. You're going to see the same kind of shellacking that the Democrats saw in 2010 because women decided that in that instance because of Obamacare, and they're going to be deciding it again in November on Obamacare as well, and they're not going to be voting for Democrats.
So Tammy, do you think that it's hands down, especially some of these highly contested races, the higher profile where it's really, really tight? Are you saying hands down that the Dems should just hang it up and the GOP, they've got it in the bag?
Well, the Dems have they've already started cutting ads. You notice they're not moving a major push on Obamacare. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's why the media is not covering it. They're noticing already as people are beginning to think about the election, as they do as we get closer. We're just a little over 2 weeks out, and they're breaking for the Republicans. We saw the same trend in 2010 for the same reasons. They didn't like what they were seeing with what Barack Obama was doing. Barack Obama, as we know, is not someone that any of the candidates on the Democratic side are embracing, and that's for a reason as well. You're going to see a replay in November for these very same reasons.
You get the last word, Leslie. I started with Tammy.
Okay, we're on national television. Tammy, you're going to be wrong. Let's make a $5 bet. Okay,
on what?
On the fact that the Democrats are going to keep the Senate. It's going to come down to 2 independents, and we're going to have one, if not both, vote to keep Senator Harry Reid as the majority leader, and the Democrats are going to keep it. They're going to have a 1-seat majority. That's my prediction, and it's not going to be about Obamacare, and the women are going to vote for the Democrats, not for the Republicans, especially single women who care very much so about the Affordable Care Act.
That's nice. That's a Lifetime movie. And that's all that is. But I'll buy you a beer. I'll buy you a beer as a consolation prize for your loss.
I tell you what.
I'll take the beer.
I want in. All 3 of us will go out for drinks after it's all over, okay? How about that one?
Bell, I'd love it.
All right. The 3 of us. Tammy, Bruce, Leslie Marshall, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.